Shadow Immigration Minister Chris Bryant has criticised two major retailers for hiring cheaper labour from Eastern Europe rather than hiring workers from the local area. I'm joined from our Westminster studio by Matt Pearson, Director of the Open Europe think tank. Very good afternoon. Is this a UK situation, migrant workers coming in for jobs and being advertised, British jobs being advertised outside the UK?
If it's a UK situation, well, I mean, the fundamental issue here is that as part of the UK's EU membership, it will be illegal for a UK firm to actively go and seek UK workers over EU workers. But of course, that does not mean that they should go for EU workers first. I mean, it's supposed to be a level playing field.
What domestic policies are there in place in the UK to deal with the situation?
Well, the thing is, there can be very few domestic policies in place because, again, as part of these EU rules, the very point about these rules is that you're supposed to consider all workers equally. So if the UK government was to impose a law, for example, stating that Tesco or Next would have to recruit local workers first and then EU migrants, these companies and the UK government would both violate EU law. So the government is very restricted in what it can do here.
Is it in any way commonplace? Is it in any way a common practice for big companies here in the UK to seek out migrant workers because they perhaps can be paid less or because they cannot get the right number of workers from the British population?
It's very hard to tell, I would say. I wouldn't want to comment on specific firms, but I would say there are two issues here. On the one hand, it is if companies go for the cheapest workers around, that's one issue. But the second issue, and I know one of these two firms claim that they've actually tried to recruit local workers but failed to do so, and therefore they had to go to Europe. I mean, those are two slightly separate issues, and I think perhaps what we're looking at here is a UK domestic problem where you know, some of these unemployed people at the moment have a hard time getting to the available jobs, and therefore these are taken up by EU migrants instead. Okay. So I don't know if it's necessarily the case that EU migrants come here and crowd out UK workers. I think it goes a bit deeper than that.
Okay, does the use of migrant workers, and we know that there are huge numbers in this country filling jobs, does it affect the skill set of British workers? Do you see a change in level of skills?
Well, I think that's actually a fundamental problem here in the UK, is that we don't necessarily see the kind of development of skills for UK workers that you want to have in order to keep the workforce competitive and mobile and active. And I think perhaps that is the main problem. You know, the UK unemployment numbers have stayed around about 1.5 million people for over a decade. And in that time period, there has been some 3 million jobs created, and this predated the last round of EU enlargement, where you had a lot of EU migrants coming over to seek work. And that, I think, will suggest that it's about developing UK worker skills rather than seeking to shut out EU migrants. That is what we should go for.
Okay, Matt Pearson, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.